Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. Manchester United subject of a huge mega QATAR bid to buy the club that will blow everybody else out the water, and they want to get it done quick. This is a huge development. It's not a shock. We should expect these and we should expect other stories like these. But the ramifications, the depth that we can get into and the conversation we can have is really exciting. Whatever side of the fence you sit on, this is going to be a fantastic show. So fasten your seatbelts and get ready. There are so many levels that we can talk to on this. Obviously, I believe we've got a fantastic community here that can listen and absorb and express its own opinions. One thing I would say straight off the bat here is that if you've got somebody who has got 335 billion wealth in their pocket to buy Manchester United, and I'll put that up on the screen so people can start reading about what we're talking about here, because I want to get into it. There's so many angles. I'm really going to enjoy this show, and I hope you are as well. You know, the debate about whether you'd rather have Sir Jim Radcliffe, who's a local Manchester United fan billionaire, or whether you want to have super wealth coming in from the Middle East or wherever, is going to be a really interesting debate. But let me just give you something that you probably won't get from anywhere else today, because I've spent a lot of time. People were like, go live last night, and I'm not going to go bloody live because I'll miss a load of stuff that I want to research and figure out. Here's an interesting thing for you. Man City are in trouble because they basically have pushed, they've done things they probably shouldn't have done. You can still be run really effectively if you've got the fan base like we have by mega owners. And I'll give you one example, and there will be multiple, right? Manchester United, if we got bought by somebody who's got billions and billions and billions of pounds, they could spend £10 billion on the club, on the stadium. It could be the best stadium ever. It could have heated seats, it could have drones bringing you your drinks. You could go for a piss in your seat because it opens up and closes and gets rid of the smell. Who knows what it could do? The best stadium ever, and it could cost £10 billion, more than any stadium's ever cost, right? It wouldn't make a little dent on financial fair play because stadium doesn't impact and structure doesn't impact on financial fair play. So Man City could have built the best stadium ever. They wouldn't be able to fill it, but they could have done. They didn't. They got the Commonwealth Stadium. There are ways that wealth can massively improve your football club that doesn't impact financial fair play. So if we were bought by QATAR investors and they built the most amazing stadium ever and took that capacity from 75,000 to 85,000 or maybe 100,000, then that makes no indentation on financial fair play. It doesn't count. It actually helps you because the minute the capacity goes up by 10,000, let's say Man United make £100 million every match day with 75,000 fans. So they're making, 7.5 million, 10 million for every 7,500 fans that go. If you increase that capacity by 10,000, you're making another 15 million every match day. If you have 20 home games a season, that's £300 million a season. Now that does go on your revenue. So you see what I mean? Straight away, there's a very easy way for wealthy people to build a super stadium that increases the capacity and will increase your revenue. It'll take a few years to build it. There are clever ways when you're wealthy to become powerful. But Man City clearly tried to do it quickly and in other ways. So look, straight away, don't start going, we're going to get found, we'll get sorted out by financial fair play. We won't. And it's a very, very, very good way of looking at it. Increase the capacity of the stadium, spend whatever you bloody like on it because it's not financial fair play. That wealth can build that stadium. You don't have to build your stadium from your profits. That's transfers. That's what financial fair play is all about. It's your signings. That has to come from your revenue, etc. So just a little thing there. Look, let's fly straight into the show. So basically, this is all coming from the Mail last night, Mike Keegan. Qatari investors are planning an incredible mega money swoop for Manchester United and want to give manager Erik ten Hag financial backing to lead the club back to the top. We will be talking about we'll do a poll in a minute actually as well on what you would prefer. The Qatar-based investment group will make an offer for Man United in the coming days ahead of the mid-February deadline set by the Glazers and are confident their bid will blow the competition out of the water. Fan engagement is at the heart of their bid, and they may well seek the views of supporters on the future of the stadium. One potential stumbling block is Qatar Sports investment ownership of PSG. One entity cannot own two clubs in the same competition, and Man United and PSG could obviously end up in the same competition if we're in the Champions League next year. The bid for Man United would come from separate individual Qatari investors. There is no interest in taking a partial stake. They want full-blown takeover of Manchester United. The Al Thani family, who I believe are the I think it's the monarchy of Qatar, actually. The Al Thani family are reportedly planning a big bid for Manchester United. They are United fans and is well aware of the club's history and legacy. I think their worth is 335 billion pounds. So look, there's a lot to digest from that straight away. I feel that we should start the show by just saying, look, at this moment in time, if that is true, which owner would you prefer? You can get your vote in. I'll obviously give you my thought as well. So let's say Sir Jim or Qatar. Now, what I will say straight away is this is one story. This is one story, and there will be more. There will be more. We are going to now move into the stage of finding out who wants to buy Man United. It's very exciting. I've got to say, it puts a smile on my face. That doesn't mean I back Sir Jim or I back Qatar, but I'm very excited about listening and hearing about different parties that want to buy Man United. Some will be good, some will be exciting. I don't know which way the Glazers will go. But it's encouraging because you start thinking about what I said about the stadium there and how huge investment could make this club absolutely where it should have been for the last 17 years. So, look, let's pick the pips out of this, first of all. Seeking a jamming partner for song called Reds Will Tear Us Apart, says Eric. And hi, Mark, it was my birthday yesterday, and on the same day proposed to my girlfriend, Eris, says Sam, and it was the best day ever. Thanks to me, the show as ever. Happy birthday for yesterday, and congratulations to you and your partner there. Sam, United getting multi-billion-dollar owners while City going to the National League North. Tears in my eyes, says McAlvis. I want whichever gets us back to the top faster, says Seb Watson. Well, 83% want Qatar over Sir Jim straight away. Now, what I will say is, look, we will get into that conversation a bit. I want to go through the news first of all. And we've got some very interesting comments from Ten Hag to get into about Martial later on in the show. So it's a very interesting show this morning with lots and lots. Zero says, how reliable is Mike Keegan? If David Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano are tier 1, the Sun bottom tier, where does Mike Keegan compare? Just want to know. Mike Keegan, Daily Mail, tier 2.5 probably. Yeah, but it's so hard to... It's a great question, actually. It's so hard to read because this is business. This is not transfers. It is... somebody said that last night. Why would the Daily Mail and Mike Keegan get an exclusive that James Ducker wouldn't get, or The Athletic or Manchester Evening News, who've not commented as far as I know yet? But there's also people saying that David Beckham's behind this, which I want to talk about as well, or David Beckham's attached to this. There's loads, but look, I think that I can only give you my opinion and you can only have yours at this stage. But what I would say is we were linked to this Al Thani family in 2011. There was if you search it on the internet, the Daily Mail ran a story on them bidding $1.5 billion for United 12 years ago. So it's not the first time they've expressed an interest in buying United and the Daily Mail have reported it. So, you know, Man United have been in a... What I'm trying to say is that we know Sir Jim wants to buy Manchester United, and we definitely know that Qatar wants to buy Manchester United. Walk away from that. That's your headline. This is not speculation time. We're up for sale, and they want to buy us, and they're very wealthy. It doesn't mean they'll get us. And it doesn't mean that some of this stuff that we're talking about isn't a little bit, exaggerated maybe. But they do want to buy us. And so does Sir Jim. And so does about another 8 people that we don't even, eight groups that we don't know. This afternoon, there might be Dubai. Tomorrow, there might be America. I don't know. This is what's going to happen. My concern is about how quickly this can happen. I mean, we hear that Qatar group want this to happen really, really quickly. Which is what we need to happen. There's already talk that the mid-February deadline is going to get pushed back because ultimately the Glazers don't care about when the deal happens as long as they get the best deal. And some people are trying to put groups together to buy United and they can't meet the February deadline. So they're saying, can we have longer? And the Glazers might do that. And of course, if this gets kicked back to the middle of March, we ain't never impacting the summer transfer window quick enough because the sale won't go through quick enough. So there's lots of things to discuss about that. But apparently Sky have spoken about it now. I don't have any issue with the validity of this story. I think that's very important to say. I don't not think this is true. I don't. I think this is true. I think that Qatar do want to buy Manchester United. I don't think it's necessarily straightforward, and I think one thing to home in on straight away is the fact that Abu Dhabi is Man City, Qatar is PSG, and Saudi Arabia is Newcastle. So we were always thinking about Dubai as a sovereign wealth fund, etc., because that they don't own a football club. But there's a lot of wealth in that area, and I think it's the investment fund of Qatar that owns PSG. What they're talking about here is private investment. Now, how that would work if those individuals that want to buy Man United are part of the investment fund that owns Qatar, I think there's a problem there. And we've got to be very careful about that, considering what's happened with Man City. So technically, it might be a problem. The Premier League also have to, confirm that it's allowed to happen. So there's a lot of things that could go wrong with this, and we may well end up with a Sajim or an American consortium. But I think the interesting thing is, and I called this a few weeks ago, is that you can have all the divisive topics that we've had this season about Ronaldo, and the hugely sensitive topic of someone like Mason Greenwood last Thursday. But don't sleep on the fact that this is going to be very divisive as well. There are going to be and I respect this, and I don't know why anybody else doesn't. I respect the fact that there's going to be very, very, very loud voices in our fan base that do not want this type of ownership. Now, you might not understand why that is, but they don't. They don't want it. They do not want this type of ownership of Manchester United. They want something that's more like Sajim, where it's a bit, it's somebody who supports the club and it's, a local lad. They want that. Or they might not want that. They might want fan ownership completely. So they will be very passionate. I mean, who knows what the Manchester United Supporters Trust will think? Who knows what the Red Army will think? Who knows what, the fan forum that Man United have will think? There are many different groups. I mean, I class this as a group, but, are we really that sort of a group? No, we're more of an online community who talk about the club we love. So there will be division. There will be division. And as exciting as some of these offers may be, I do have concerns about the division that it will cause in the fan base, because ultimately, really, the fans should vote as a fan base on what ownership we get, but we won't have any say in that. And it worries me that, I've always worried about this, because the fan forum that the club have is all season ticket holders. They don't speak to anybody out who's not a season ticket holder. It's not easy to be a season ticket holder of Manchester United. And then even if you're a season ticket holder, it's not easy to get on the fan forum. So when the club seek fan opinion, they don't seek fan opinion. I'm sorry, they just don't, because they don't speak to people from India or America or Dublin or London unless they're a season ticket holder. They just don't. So if they spoke to those people and said, do you want Saudi Arabia, the Qatar bid, and they go, no, we want Sajim, actually they don't represent the whole fan base, and that creates a whole problem in itself. And some people will say, well, they shouldn't. It should be the away fans who get the vote, or it should be people who live in Manchester who get the vote. I mean, look, I disagree with that, but that's why you've got to consider that your voice isn't going to be the loudest on this, whatever you think. Stitch, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. I mean, from the poll that we've had here, 79%, nearly 10,000 votes so far, 79% would prefer the Qatar bid to Sajim. And you know what? I remember before Newcastle were bought by Saudi Arabia that there was Robert McCormack says the match going and local fans will be pro Sajim. And I don't disrespect that. And can I just say, from the bottom of my heart, I will always be honest with you, I don't know what I want. When the Sajim story broke 2 weeks ago, I said, exciting, but I don't know what his plan is. I mean, the Sajim Radcliffe bid is more uncertain than Qatar. Qatar will come in and spend a shitload of money. Sajim, we don't know what money he's got to spend. We don't know whether he's using all his money to get hold of the club. We don't know whether he's in a consortium. Who's in that consortium? On the face of it, on these two bids, I would probably be more happier with Qatar taking it on a club level, because I don't know what's behind Sajim Radcliffe's bid. On a moral level, about who supports the club and cares about the club more, I'd probably go with Sajim, because I don't know what the Qatar motive is. So, you know what I mean? I can't sit here in front of 15,000 people and go, oil me up, let's do that. And let's not forget, I don't like that term because it might not be coming from oil. That wealth could be coming from a multitude of ways. But I will always be honest and say I'm not jumping either side of this. I think the pro Sir Jim and the pro Qatar people are a little bit naive because you don't know what the motives are behind those purchases, and you don't know what money's going to go in. I've always said I don't think Sir Jim Ratcliffe's got £6 billion to buy Manchester United and then spend another 10 billion on infrastructure and everything else. I don't think he's got 16 billion to spend on United. I think if he gets hold of United, we'll be run more about our own revenue and more carefully. I think if you were bought by Qatar, they have got the 6 billion to buy United, and they've probably got the 16 billion to chuck into United over the next 5 years. So from a footballing sense, I think that's the better model. But the long-term sense and where your morals go on that, I don't know, because I don't know enough about the individuals and the background of what's going to go on. And I think we need to know that, and we probably won't know that until the club's been bought. So it's very difficult, isn't it? Some people will just look at it from a football point of view. Some people will look at it, I just want something better than the Glazers. So I can't tell people how to think, but one thing I would say is that you will get some people passionately telling you that we shouldn't have this and we should have that. And I'm not going to do that, because I think that everyone's intelligent enough to make their own mind up. And some people support in different ways. Some people are, under no circumstances do I want anyone owning United unless they're a, local Man United fan. Some people are, all I want is Man United in my lifetime to win trophies on the football pitch. So I want the wealth, and you can't disrespect someone who explains their opinion in that way. Mark, I think you should consider baby-proofing the edges of your desk. Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea, Sheriff. Welcome to Oil Trafford, says Grant, and let's hope it gets kicked back to March. The new owners, whoever they are, dictate our transfer window and demand we make the necessary purchases. Ashton, thank you very much. One thing I will say is that, and look, this is complete speculation, is that there has been talk that there may well be an ex-player involved in supporting this Qatar bid. It's complete speculation, and I can't really comment on it in any serious way. If we have any ex-player involved in any of these bids, I have a select 3 that I would be comfortable with being involved, and I hope that whoever those players are one of those 3 players, because if we're going for people, I think you can all guess who I'm talking about. I think it would turn my stomach, really. There's only certain players that I think could be attached to a Man United bid that would really, unite the fans and allow some level of trust. And I'm not bothered about that. I think that would almost worry me in a way, that new owners feel that they need an ex-player to get the fans on board, because I think football's changed over the last 20 years. We always love our legends, but we don't need an ex-legend to tell us what to do. That's almost like Pied Piper tactics. We don't need that. Football fans are very intelligent these days. What we need is clear, defined plans on what you're going to do with this football club. We don't need a cheerleader who's like, hey, look at me. Forget what's going on. Just look at me. That's not how football fans work now. It's short-sighted to think the Glazers will sell up. Selling a minority stake to raise liquidity is more likely. As long as we're competing in the market and on the pitch, I'm not losing any sleep over it, says Charlie. Do you think a Qatari ownership can lead to a situation Man City is facing right now, says Sag. Kyle, welcome to the Members Club. The Glazers have given foreign ownership a bad name for some people. There are going to be pros and cons with both, says Nathaniel Archer. And you lot can spend peas if you get this takeover because you have fans. Your revenue is done legit, says Nathan Allen. Yes, look, I will take some questions on this. The reason I said at the start of the video, and some people might have missed it, is I want to sort of hit is Mbappe going to sign for Man United if we get this sort of ownership? And the short answer is no, but the long-term answer is yes. What you will fall foul of what Man City have supposedly done if you try and build Rome in a day. That's saying Rome wasn't built in a day is basically about you can build a dynasty, but it must be built up over time. It appears that Man City have tried to do it over a very short period of time, and they've been obviously found out for it. Whether they're found guilty or not is not down to us. But look. I said this morning, Man City's worldwide fan base is roughly 10 times smaller than Man United. Some would say it's a lot more than that. How can you have more commercial revenue than a football club that's got 10 times the fan base as you? It doesn't make any sense. Something's gone wrong there, as everybody knows. But some people think it doesn't matter how rich your owner is, because Man United can't spend any money because of the fact that our wage bill is nearly 90% of our revenue, and that's going to have to come down. You've got to get rid of players to bring your revenue down. You've got to sell players to generate more revenue. Man United need to balance the books. We can't just go out and buy players because we're actually quite shit in relation to financial fair play regulations because of how much we've spent on wages and everything. We massively are very close to our revenue on spend, and we need to reduce the spend and increase the revenue. You can't do that in one summer. If we want to spend big this summer, we've got to sell players, reduce the wage bill, and get as much revenue in as we can from qualifying for things like the Champions League. We're too close to our revenue and spend on transfers and wages at the moment. There's not a lot of leeway to buy players under the new rules. So we need to expand our revenue and reduce our wage bill. As I said, if you build a new stadium, that it doesn't impact financial fair play. So if tomorrow I could increase Man United's capacity by 10,000, I'll make another £200 million a year in revenue. Revenue up, spend on wages, even if it stays the same. That's a big amount of money. So what you need to do is you need to rebuild or build a new Man United ground as quick as you can to start getting that revenue up. It's going to take years to do that, but when you're doing that and you're doing everything else, Rome won't be built in a day in relation to buying the Mbappes of this world, but give it 5 years under owners who are super wealthy, and we will be. And there might be ways that they can do it anyway. You could do, I don't think that the Chelsea loophole of buying players over 10 years is going to work for very long. We'll have some short-term pain because of the problems the Glazers have caused, but in the long term, we will be able to compete very, very much so because we've got the fan base, we've got the brands, we're Manchester United, but there is a lot that needs to be built to do that. But to do that, you need the wealth anyway. So the instant buying of Mbappe, if we were bought by QATAR or this investment group or any super wealthy owner, I don't think we can go and buy Mbappe and everyone else this summer. But I think over the next few years we will be able to. There will be a bit of short-term pain, I suppose, in some ways, but long-term, Man United, this is what the Glazers should have done when they bought us. We could have dominated the last 17 years if they'd done what needs to happen now. Keep building that stadium, keep building the place for people to come, keep buying the players. We are set up to do it, it just won't happen quick. I think the world fan base needs to be listened to. More times have changed, but on the occasion, I think the locals and match-going fans should be heard, says Robert McCormack. Can the new owners pay off the owed transfer fees to the... I don't think they'd have any problem paying off that with the wealth that they've got. I've just tuned in. How is this possible? Do they not own PSG already? Is there not a conflict of interest, says Nate? And welcome to Members Club, Kyle. So yeah, QATAR Sports Investment Fund, I think it's called, own PSG. So they can't own Manchester United because we'll both be playing in the same tournament. You can't have two teams playing in the same tournament. However, there's always been this discussion that QATAR want to buy Man United, and they might do it through private individuals, which some people say, well, that can't happen. Well, it can, because Sir Jim Ratcliffe is trying to buy Man United. He's just an individual who's going to get a consortium behind him or use Ineos funds, whatever. He wants to buy Man United. So some individuals from QATAR can come together and buy Man United. They're just not a sovereign wealth fund or a sports investment group. The issue, I think, would be is if some of those individuals who want to buy Man United are shareholders or stakeholders in the group that own QATAR, PSG. That's where the problem. On the very basic level, it's exciting, and I would argue with anyone who says it's not exciting, because it's exciting on the level that somebody like that could buy Man United and the possibilities with that. That's exciting. It's exciting what Sir Jim Ratcliffe could do as well. It's an exciting time. I wouldn't even jump on which party you want to buy United at the moment. I think it's an exciting time. And I would also say this story doesn't mean that we're going to get bought by QATAR. Far from it. The Premier League has to agree with it. They have to put a bid in. There might be somebody else who's richer who wants to put a bid in. And it might not even be possible for them to put a bid in because of the PSG thing and who's the shareholders in that. So it's a story. I expect these stories to come out more and more over the next week or two, because it's not just Sir Jim and QATAR investors who want to buy Man United. There's at least another 6 that I've been told. I don't know who the individuals are, but I have been told that there's about 6 to 8 serious bidders for Manchester United expected to go in. We know 2 of them, potentially. Who are the other 6? And we will, tomorrow it could be another story. And I guarantee that will be exciting as well. There'll be other people, and people will start making their mind up. And, 2 weeks ago, everyone wanted Sajim. Now it's like, oil me up, and I want Qatar. There will be other people coming in. And it won't be our decision anyway. But I find it exciting because if we can get the right owners, if we're lucky enough to get the right owners, it could be really, really interesting for our future. Hi, Mark. Message from Sydney, Australia. Can you call my mate Cads a prat? He's keen to be oiled up. So we've had quite a few votes on this. 77% of people would like Qatar over Sajim. But, that could be recency bias. I don't know. Is this bid a future financial fair play issue or another indication that the Premier League is becoming the Super League, says Ollie Jenks. Once our debt is cleared, we will get a larger portion of our revenue to spend on transfers as we stop servicing our debts, says Nicholas. And I don't know about that. Eric, welcome to the Numbers Club. I don't think our debts impact our spend. I might be completely wrong here, but the way I think financial fair play works is that you have revenue. So if Man United make £600 million a year in revenue, they then compare your revenue to your spend on transfers and wages. So that's the main thing of financial fair play. You don't deduct your debt from your revenue. Your revenue is one. If you own a business and you turn over 100k in a year, that's your revenue. They don't take off your wage bills, your HMRC, your debts, and then that's your revenue. Your revenue's there. I don't think debts and everything come into that anyway for financial fair play. But look, there's a lot of talk about financial fair play at the moment, and I get that. But of course, anybody, Sajim, Qatar, America, whoever buys Man United can easily fall foul of financial fair play if they break the rules. But I think people are getting confused here, and I get it. Because Man City is owned by Abu Dhabi, and they've been charged with these breaches, people think that... I heard somebody online yesterday saying, I don't want us to be bought by Qatar because I don't want to happen to us what's happened to Man City. But what's happened to Man City could have happened if Mike Ashley could have done it at Newcastle. Todd Boehly could do it at Chelsea. FSG could do it at Liverpool. The Glazers could have done it at Man United. It's not because Abu Dhabi bought Man United from the Middle East, Man City from the Middle East, that they've breached financial fair play. Newcastle don't look like they're going to breach financial fair play, and they've been bought by Saudi Arabia. Financial fair play being broken has got nothing to do with oil or the Middle East or anything like that. That would be ridiculously stereotypical to say that, and it'd be completely wrong. Breaching financial fair play, like Man City have been accused of doing, is down to the way you run your club. So somebody with 350 billion wealth buying Man United doesn't mean we're going to breach financial fair play, because as long as they play by the rules, we'll be fine. And as I say, we could spend 300 billion on a stadium. We still don't breach financial fair play because stadium infrastructure, facilities isn't included in that. It's all about signings, transfers and wages. And, I think somebody would be very stupid to breach that now, and I don't think we would, in all honesty. Don't sell to oil, says Coutinho. That poll result is depressing, says... well, I'd love to know... I mean, look, we've got a little bit of time. I want to talk about some Ten Hag comments. There's a couple of other things I wanted to talk about here. But, look, somebody said in the chat, tell me... I want to get a few opinions here. Fighting Irish, thank you very much for joining the members club. Thank you very much for doing that. You can do that through the join point, of course. But let me know... I just want to read a few comments here because we are a community. Let me know why you do not want Qatar or Middle East ownership of Man United. Let me know that, and also a few people why you do, because I'd like to read some of that out. Somebody did say earlier, what would you said that you don't really want any ex-players involved in any of the bids because it's cheerleading, Pied Piper tactics. I think football fans are so educated these days. I personally am more than happy to call out ex-players, whether they're Man United players or not, when they say something about United that I disagree with, whether it's, Ten Hag, Solskjaer, whatever. That's how football's moved on. Football is very communicative and you can express your opinions now. I don't need an ex-player to tell me this is the bid to go for because it's just cheerleader tactics. But I did say there's 2 or 3 United players that I wouldn't mind being attached to any bid. Someone said, "Will you tell us the players?" Well, I'm not going to do that. It's not fair because it makes it expresses an opinion to lots of people, and it's unfair on those people. I'd say I wouldn't want them anywhere near a Man United bid, and I think it's very obvious who I wouldn't want near them. And they're not none of them are class of '92 members, by the way. So don't start thinking it's Gary. What about, someone said, well, what would you think if David Beckham was the face of the Qatar bid? Personally, I think that would cause a lot of problems for a lot of United fans, and I understand that. But personally, I wouldn't have a problem because David Beckham was the face of the Olympics. David Beckham wouldn't surprise me being, a face of a Qatar bid for Man United. I think it would make a lot of sense. I wouldn't be bothered. I like David Beckham. I'm completely biased because growing up as a kid and, sort of in my mid-teens, I always used to have the number 7 shirt. I had bleached hair with the side parting. I loved David Beckham growing up. So, I've never met him. I probably don't want to meet David Beckham, actually, because, as they say, you shouldn't meet your idols. And it might be, I don't know, it might be a disappointing experience, which I've had with some legends that I've met. But in some way, I don't know whether there's any truth attached to it. But David Beckham, to me, would be one of the 2 or 3 players I wouldn't mind being attached to any bid, because I just think David Beckham is that sort of person. He's done that sort of stuff before. But I don't think we need an ex-player to be attached to any bid to make it more attractive. In fact, part of me would be a bit disappointed if that happened, because I think it's a bit, like I say, oh, look at this bid, we've got an ex-player. I think it can be a bit manipulative because you think about, oh, it's an ex-player, it must be good. Why? But it wouldn't surprise me if Beckham was involved in it, and I wouldn't be that bothered. We should be happy either way Glazers are going, just as long as new owners do the right thing for United, says Just Me. Now in football, you need super wealth if you want to win the Premier League. The players are costing 70 million plus, says Dazzo. Well, true and false, Dazzo. You do need money if you want to be successful these days, but you've also got to be careful about how you spend that money. As I said, for anybody saying, let's go and get Mbappe, I get the excitement. We're not buying Mbappe in the summer. We can't buy Mbappe in the summer. The club's not in a position to buy Mbappe in the summer, even if we've got billions and billions of pounds. We will have to spend the first year or two restructuring this football club so that it can go and buy the Mbappes if it wants to. At the moment, we spend too much money on wages on players that aren't good enough. So there would have to be a lot of selling and getting rid of people first. Deck says, I wouldn't want this Qatar ownership because it would ruin our reputation. Shane mentions human rights. Paul says all countries have human rights problems. PSG is owned by Qatar. They still haven't won the Champions League. That's my only concern, says I'm new. So I've got quite a few people there making... Look, I don't have a problem with anybody who has an opinion that is different to somebody else's, as long as it's structured and inoffensive and not abusive. And these same things, I remember doing a video 18 months ago about the Saudi Arabian people who bought Newcastle buying Man United, and we had exactly the same chat. Some people were like, I don't care, I just want to be good on the football pitch. Some people were like, there's really, really big human rights concerns around the people who are buying Newcastle. I wouldn't want them anywhere near my football club. It doesn't make me feel comfortable. I respect both those opinions. Football, I don't care. All I care about is football. There's loads of countries who've got human rights issues, whether it's America, the UK, or the Middle East. And then there's people saying, I'm not comfortable with those issues being anywhere near my football club. So it's just human opinion. That's all it is. It doesn't make one right, one wrong. It makes it right for those individuals. There will be division on this. Even if Manchester United gets bought by Sir Jim Ratcliffe, there will be people who go, I don't want him. I don't know nothing about what he's going to do with this club other than he supports the club. I wanted mega wealth from there or there because that's what we should have. So Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid is not the one that everybody wants. It's probably the safest one, but it's not the one everybody wants. Some people want it, some people don't. A Qatar bid is not what everybody wants. Some people really want it, some people don't want it, and this is gonna cause division in the fan base. So the Glazers' parting gift as they walk off into the sunset with billions of pounds in their pocket is that they will leave a divide in the fan base. And probably a bigger divide than Ten Hag over Poch did, in some ways. Well, most fans wanted Ten Hag anyway. I can't pretend that's not going to happen. You can't pretend that's not going to happen. This is a very passionate topic. This is the future of our football club. Some people will be very happy with what happens. Some people won't. And that's very, very sad. But that's the world we live in, because actually football fans are very educated these days. And it's not just as simple as Michael Knighton coming on the pitch in the late 80s doing keep you up, saying I'm going to make Man United a superpower, and everyone cheering him because, no one really knew who he was and it sounded great, and actually it didn't happen. These days, before someone's even bought United, we know loads about them. And we're not naive. So the opinions and division that you have in football these days is because the modern football fan, is very educated, whether it's on football tactics or whether it's on politics of a football club. I cannot see a situation where this fan base completely agrees about who our new owners are. And how each individual fan deals with that is going to be very interesting. And I know there's people out there who, love to just open their gob and declare their opinion, and they want everyone to, agree with them. And this is what I think, and this is what I think. And it's complete bollocks. I speak to journalists. I speak to you. I speak to other fans. I look on social media. I read the articles. I read what journalists say. Nobody has the information on who's the best owner for Man United at this point in time. Nobody. Everybody just has an opinion. And think about that. When you read the journalists today, when you read other articles or listen to other videos, none of them have a fucking clue what's best for Man United in the future. I don't know what's best for Man United in the future, because I don't know who's going to bid. I don't know what Sir Jim's plan is, and I don't know enough about what this Qatar bid is. So I can't sit here and say, this is what we should be doing, let's do it. And I think it's irresponsible to do that. I would just enjoy the excitement period, which is now, because it might not be exciting when we know who the new owners are going to be. It might be quite disappointing if you wanted different owners, but the exciting stage is now, that anticipation of who wants the buyers and what they could do. Is it likely that the experienced and naive board will leave with new owners coming in, or do you think the likes of Richard Arnold will stay, Mark, says Mark? Well, I think that's a great point as well. Nicholas says, once our debt is cleared, we will get a larger portion of our revenue to spend on transfers as we stop servicing our debts. Yes, I agree with that, but it doesn't actually kick in with financial fair play, as I said before. I think that's a great point as well. And look, this is a personal opinion here, which I will express. If Sir Jim Radcliffe's plan was to come in and clear out the board and the recruitment department and bring a new one in, I think that's a very attractive plan. If Qatar's bid is, we've got loads and loads of money, but we're going to keep the same CEO, the same director of football, and the same recruitment, I think that's a very worrying plan. So this is what I mean. It's multifaceted, isn't it? People are jumping, and we don't know what the plan is. I want new owners to come in and, from the manager above, scrutinise everything from director of football to recruitment to the board, because I think they've let us down over the last 10 years especially. That means I think I want the best to come in. And you can, the CEO's wage, the director of football's wage, that doesn't impact financial fair play. That's where you can spend money on infrastructure. That's where you can go and get the best CEO in football, the best director of football in football. You can spend your wealth on that, on a stadium, on training facilities. You can build the best of the best. That's not going to impact financial fair play. So that's an area where I do want to see major investment very, very quickly. Now, if the new owners, no, we're going to stick with the same people, I'm like, yeah, you're not serious. Hi, Mark. Slightly off topic. What do you think of United being linked to Fatty, first versatile forward? Yeah, I saw that, James, but it's not a story I'm really that interested in at the moment. I think there's far more identifiable stories of interest like this. Who we're going to buy in the summer. Really, does it matter? At the moment we're playing tonight. We've got a really exciting season, and we've got a really exciting scenario about who the new owner is going to be. The way I see it, there are no morals in football anymore. I know I'm a good moral person. I just want United to win, says Daniel. Well, Newcastle fans don't seem to be struggling with the moral issues that we were discussing about that very same ownership when they were considered as a Man United option 2 years ago. That Saudi Arabian ownership of Newcastle was linked to us 18 months ago. I remember doing a show about it where there was a huge divide in the chat about morally whether we'd want them or not. I don't see that same issue at Newcastle. I see every Newcastle fan walking around, with an arrogant smile on their face because they know they're going to be successful. So, that doesn't mean that we should be happy with what Newcastle fans want to do, but I don't see many protests from Newcastle fans. I don't think there were any. So I think Daniel's absolutely spot on. This moral code in football, well, there are clubs in our very own league that didn't really have much of a moral code on those particular issues either. Doesn't mean that Liverpool or Man United fans shouldn't, but I'm just saying it's an example of we wouldn't be the first football club to take on owners where, some people are a bit uncomfortable at potential moral issues or human rights issues or whatever you want to call it. Everyone is talking about Sir Jim versus Qatar, but there could well be a third party, says Deja. Mate, there's not a third party. You're absolutely spot on. There's a third party, there's a fourth party, there's a fifth party, there's a sixth party. I think there's at least 8 parties to buy this club. And I think what's happening, using the word party, there is a party, there's going to be about 8 guests, and we only know 2. This is not Sir Jim versus Qatar. That's just in relation to what type of model you would prefer at this moment in time. But that there is a big, there is a lot of people. And as I said, if tomorrow, and I don't think they will, but if tomorrow a new bidder comes out, because remember, it's meant to be mid-February when the bids go in. So what if tomorrow an Amazon type or an Apple or someone like that declared an interest? Everyone will want that again. So look, just be prepared. This was not a surprise to me last night when this story broke. There will be more. There will be more. I think there'll be more from the Middle East. I don't think it will just be Qatar. I think there will be one from Dubai. I think there will. I do. I think there's definitely some from America. There's a lot of investment in English football at the moment from America. Asia as well. I wouldn't be surprised. I think there will be more, definitely. If we don't accept the Qataris and they go in for Liverpool and heavily invest in them, we're going to be wishing it was us instead of them, says Rahul. Yeah, but you know what, Rahul? That same article that we've just been discussing from the Mail talking about this Qatar bid, and I feel that we've been chatting for a while here, so I sort of just want to go back and put the headline up there. That same story references interest in Liverpool, but they chose Man United because they see it as a better option. So if Sir Jim Ratcliffe bid for Chelsea, now he didn't go for Man United because he didn't get Chelsea, but he did bid for Chelsea. He's a Man United fan, so Man United would be more preferable, but he did bid for Chelsea. So whoever we don't get, if we don't get Qatar investment, they could buy Liverpool. Liverpool would have the same issue as us. There's a lot of Liverpool fans who don't want that type of ownership as well. I feel Sir Jim would treat it more of a business opportunity. It seems Qatar would build the club back whatever it takes, says Jared. Rival fans will start calling our stadium Old Trafford, says Nicholas. And as United are one... Mate, I don't really care what rival fans think about who our new ownership is. I don't really care. We've got one of the biggest fan bases in the world already. We make some of the biggest revenue in the world already. It's not like we're going to be Chelsea or Newcastle or any other club that, with all due respect, or Newcastle started off from a point where they weren't really competing for titles and then suddenly they are. Man United, I don't really care what rival fans think. It's about what's best for Man United and what's best for Man United fans, and that's for us to decide. I wouldn't give a shit about what rival fans think. I really wouldn't. Because rival fans will take up opposite anyway. Howard Webb was a Man United fan for 10 years as a referee. He wasn't. But they used to say that. As United are one of the few clubs which are listed in the stock market, does selling the club meaning just selling at least 55% of the stock market, says Guan Tan. No, they're looking to sell all of the club, mate. More important things in life than football, disgusting people willing to look the other way on atrocities against humanity to win a trophy, says Razza. Look, Razza, I don't disagree with that. But as I said, Newcastle, they've just done it. I don't see a massive uproar from other Premier League fans doing protests or anything like that. To be fair, Saudi Arabia is actually more progressive than Qatar in a lot of different situations. I don't want Qataris to be owners. Do it like Bayern, says Liam B. Where have the morals been while the Glazers let our historic stadium dilapidate, fall apart, invest with vermin, leave the sports technology and training facilities in the past while bleeding us dry? Double standards, says Mandy. Yeah, I mean, look, it's different, but the Glazers have been very, very bad for this football club. Look, I'm not going to. Fortunately, I'm in a position. Fortunately, I'm in a position where I honestly don't express an opinion on this at the moment for two major reasons, really. I don't express an opinion on this because I don't know the detail, and I think, I've learnt in life, rightly or wrongly, that I like to have as much information as I can before I make a decision on anything. And secondly, I also am fully expecting a load more bids to come in. So why, it's like when you're hungry for dessert and somebody says, do you want a sticky toffee pudding or do you want chocolate eclairs? And I like both of those puddings, but they tell me there's another 6 to come out. Why would I pick sticky toffee pudding or chocolate eclairs when I know there's another 6 puddings to come out? I'm going to wait till later there, because I can still have the chocolate eclairs and I can still have the sticky toffee pudding. Anyway, I'm not going to lose out by waiting to see what the other 6 desserts are. So I don't need to make a decision at the moment. And also my decision is important because it's my decision, but it won't have any impact. But obviously we all like to make a decision. It's like watching a quiz show. You're not the guy or girl sitting there about to win 100k, but you still answer the question and feel proud if you get it right. So I will make a decision, but I'm not going to make it off these 2 bids because there's more to come. And also, most importantly of all, I'd feel a complete fraud if I said, yeah, I want Sir Jim. Because if he gets the job, buys the club, and then he runs it in a responsible way where we don't spend much money because he hasn't got a lot and he just wants to run it responsibly, I don't agree with that. And I've gone, well, people will go, well, you wanted him. And exactly, I'm not going to jump too soon on this. Everyone's got a right. Some people will say, under no circumstances do I want them or them to own this club. That's fine. Some people will go, I absolutely do not care. I just want super wealth. That's what I want. I absolutely do not care. I just want a local fan who's rich, who cares about the club. That's fine. But I honestly don't have a preference at this moment in time for the reasons I've said. What I will say is, it's already started and it will continue. There will be division in the fan base, and just be wary of it, because you cannot, and we've had experience of it this season with Ronaldo, and we had it last week as well with Greenwood in some ways. You can be passionately on one side of the fence and somebody will be the opposite and you'll just have arguments. But remember, they think different to you and you think different to them, and that's fine. That's life, 75% of you, 20,000 votes, 75% would take Qatar ownership over Sir Jim Ratcliffe. That will be heartbreaking to some people, by the way. Right, we'll close the poll because it's never even been close. The funny thing about that is, if rival fans were voting, they'd vote for Sir Jim. Because they, I guarantee you now, rival fans don't want us in the hands of multi-billionaires. They don't. They'd go for Sir Jim because they go, maybe he'll run the club responsibly and not throw loads of money at it. So rival fans wouldn't be voting for Qatar either. So that 75% for Qatar, that will be predominantly Man United fans. The Sir Jim thing, some of that might be rival fans as well. So it is what it is. As I say, I wouldn't even vote. If you ask me now which one I would go for, I honestly wouldn't vote. And that's not sitting on the fence. That's waiting to find out who else is going to bid, and also not being comfortable with knowing what's behind those bids. I think the Sir Jim Ratcliffe one is more of a question mark than Qatar at this point, because Qatar will just throw money at the club. Sir Jim, I don't know how he affords the club, and I don't know what his plan is when he's got it. What I've always said is, whoever buys the football club, I don't care how much they buy the football club for, whoever buys the football club needs to have 10 billion in their pocket to throw at the club. Like when Chelsea bought, Todd Bowley bought Chelsea. I think he bought it for 2.7 and then committed to 1.5 billion in spending on the club, which obviously they're doing. Whoever buys United needs to commit 10 billion over the next 5 years. Stadium, infrastructure, players, whatever. It's not about buying the club. There's got to be another 10 billion to spend on the club. That's the most important thing for me. I just want to support the players and manager of my team, says Daniel Kirk. Thank you very much for your super chat there. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, by the way, bottom right hand corner. This is the sort of thing we do. It's not really dictatorship here. I think some try and dictate you and tell you what you should think and what they think. I think on the big topics, I'm more than happy to tell you who I think should be playing at centre back. I'm more than happy to tell you what I think about, a performance on the pitch. But I think when it comes to the big issues, we're a big community, and I think it's important to, not necessarily respect, but certainly give both sides and understand both sides. And I think we do that really well. And unfortunately, we're having to do it a lot at the moment. There's a lot of divisive issues. But I would just say this is an exciting time to anybody. I wouldn't be getting frustrated or angry this morning or overly excited. It's an exciting time. This is like Christmas Eve. One of my favourite days of the year as a kid. Christmas Eve was always way better than Christmas Day. Because Christmas Eve, it's the anticipation, it's the opportunity, it's the possibilities. Christmas Day is the reality. And sometimes it's great, but even when I got like a Mega Drive or something like that on Christmas Day, I'd still have a moment in the afternoon where I'd go, oh, I wish it was Christmas Eve again. Because it almost felt on Christmas Day afternoon, that anticipation and excitement was gone. Wasn't going to see Santa for another year. But, seriously, this is the exciting time because there's possibilities. You might wake up tomorrow and get the ownership you don't want, but you might get the one you do want. But while there is no decision been made, and we have the anticipation and the excitement. So I'm excited. That doesn't mean I'm excited because of Qatar or I'm excited because of Sir Jim. I'm excited about the opportunities, and ultimately, I want what's best for Manchester United. I do. But you know what? I think people get it wrong, in my opinion. They say, I want what's best for Manchester United. I want what's best for Man United on the pitch. I don't want what's best for Manchester United on the pitch. I honestly don't. I want what's best for you. I want what's best for Manchester United, the club. The club is not the owners. The club is not the CEO. The club is not the manager, and the club is not the players. Over the last 10 years, we've had bad ownership, bad signings, bad managers, bad players. They don't matter to me massively. They're servants of the club. I care about Manchester United. I care about the fans. That's what Man United is to me. So I want what's best for us, because in 50 years' time we'll still be here. Some of us, but most of you will. I want you as fans to have the best experience and what's best for Manchester United. That's what I want, and I find it very difficult to understand what that is at the moment. Qatar's buying out United will be the best day of my life, says Jack. I want to just hit on this. The Ferocious says Mbappe, Osman, Bellingham and De Jong with Qatar ownership. Absolutely impossible. Absolutely impossible. Faulty Towers, new series after 43 years, says Robert McCormack. How would that even be possible? Most of them are dead. Sybil's got bloody... she's in her 90s, I think. I think she's been ill as well. I don't know what you're on about there, Robert. Yeah, we can't buy Mbappe in the summer. Can't happen. We can't do it. It would take a bit of time for us to sort out debt and revenue to do that. We can't just magically increase our revenue to be able to buy Mbappe. We can probably spend about £150 million in the summer, even with new ownership. We need to sell. We need to qualify for the Champions League. Yeah, I think people are running ahead with themselves there. It may be controversial, but I think everyone's dream is to have rich owners that support both 10 on the club. That's why Qatar bid is good, says Owen. And hi, Mark. Even if they aren't Man United fans, as long as they know how to run a business efficiently, that's good enough for me, says Rowan. Rowan, I know we're coming towards the end of the show, and I've not spoken about loads of things I wanted to speak to, so I'll probably speak about them on the afternoon show or on the watch along later. Ten Hag came out with some really good comments, but we can touch on them later. It's fine. This probably takes precedence. Here's another one for you. I don't care if the owner of the club is Man United fan. I don't. It's a nice to have, but I don't. It's like buying a player and did they support Man United as a kid? If they do, it makes it better. But if they didn't, like most of them didn't, it doesn't matter. Most of our legends didn't support Man United as a kid. Brian Robson didn't support us, I don't think. I don't think Roy Keane did. Beckham did. Gary Neville obviously did. I doubt Ronaldo did. I don't think Rooney did because he was no, Rooney didn't. So most of our legends don't support the club. So why do I care about the owner supporting the club? All those legends loved Man United and probably support Man United now. So I don't think the owners need to support Manchester United to be great. I mean, did the Man City's owners grow up with a Man City scarf? No, I doubt it. So, and people fall in love with football in different ways. I know Man United fans who became Man United fans in their mid-20s, not because they changed allegiance, but because they got into football in their mid-20s. So I don't have a problem with that. It's nice to have, but it's not necessarily essential. We don't need Mbappe, who is the best on left wing. We've already got Rashford, so it's like, no. Okay. Look, it's an exciting time. I would, if I could say one thing to you, and I'm not really bothered about what you think about what I say, because it's about what you think, I would be excited. I think this is exciting. And, we've got a massive game tonight as well. We've got a watch-along tonight starting at 7. So it's an exciting time. And as I said, either today or tomorrow or the day after, I think we'll have another story about who else wants to buy us, because I think that's going to be happening now for the next 2 weeks. I think we're just going to get more and more. There's a deadline of the middle of February for bids to go in. That's next week. I think there's another at least six bidders that we don't know about. So we're going to get more of this. Enjoy the excitement, have an opinion, but I also would say, remember, you don't know a lot about what these bids are about. We don't know hardly anything about what Sir Jim Radcliffe's bid is, or whether there's a consortium behind him, or what the plan is if he gets hold of the club. So, be careful what you wish for, but be excited. There could be a manifesto which outlines what the owner's plans for the club are. I doubt the Glazers will care anything but the dollars, though, says Ami. There will be a manifesto, and I don't think we'll be involved. The Glazers ultimately will know the plan of everybody, but they won't really care about the plan. They'll just be looking for the biggest bid. And remember, this Qatar bid, if it's true, they feel that they can blow everyone else out of the water and buy United quickly. So that'll be the problem. You might prefer Sir Jim to get it, but if he can only pay 6 billion and someone comes in and says we'll play 8 billion, sell it now, game over, isn't it? So there's lots to think about. Thanks everyone for watching. What a show. We've had nearly 20,000 watching. Don't forget, we've got the watch along tonight at 7. Obviously, if anything happens, we'll go live, so please do subscribe. Thanks for anyone who joined the members club. You can do that through the live chat, and I will speak to you all a little bit later on. Take care. Make sure you have a good day, and thanks everyone for watching. Very, very, very good show. I enjoyed that.